end, everybody. So we may have to reschedule this. For some reason, we're not seeing it all the destinations. I really apologize. Um, oh, maybe we're okay. So let's go ahead and start. We'll go ahead and work on through it, and hopefully we'll be able to upload this afterwards. We're here to talk about recruiting. We're here with Coach Ganon Baker and Jack O'Grady. We want to talk about how this world is set up at this moment for under-recruited athletes. We've asked Ganon to come here because he has a massive amount of experience in the basketball world as a high school and college athlete, as a professional athlete, and now as a leader and an influencer in the basketball world. We'll kind of quickly go through who is Ganon, who is Stella Pop, kind of talk about recruiting a little bit. But I think really the meat of this is to get to Ganon and let him answer some questions and move forward from there. Who is Ganon Baker? He unfortunately beat my South Lake Seahawks in the Virginia State Championship with Grant Hill. I did not know that. That was a sad story for me to hear. Was recruited by 51 schools, was it, Ganon?
I got about 31 Division I, a few Division II full scholarship offers.
31. Was a Dean, I think it's pronounced Eller Leadership Award winner.
Yes, sir.
All academic team, master in kinesiology, tough word to pronounce there. 5.5 years as a D1, D2 college coach, former professional player in Iceland, and 2003 Denver Nuggets Summer League tryout. I think the most important and impressive thing about Ganon is, he's basically built this business, built his ability to communicate, work with youth on basically training, how to go forward in life, how to build their basketball career, how to build their skills. He's been in 50 countries, 6 continents. He's worked with Nike developmental players. I think his resume is amazing. So we appreciate you joining us, Ganon, and help us out tonight.
Yeah, good to be here.
Cool. Who is Stella Pop Sports Marketing? And we're a 20-year-old marketing and branding company located outside Washington, D.C. A few years ago, Jack, who's my son, we noticed that there was this underserved market out there. There are these kids, there's lots of D1, 4-star, 5-star athletes who are served in the recruiting market, but there are so many opportunities for under-recruited high school athletes to go play at a college, whether it's D3, D2, JUCO. There's so many opportunities, and there's so much money out there for them to tap into. I think we wanted to make sure we could go out and serve that community with this type of a program. We also are getting in the business of brand management and NIL, since it's all over the news, and that's definitely another webinar. So what I wanted to do is kind of let Jack talk about his journey, how he got here. I got to watch it from the outside as a dad and a coach, but I think he has some great insight into how he got here and what his experience was getting from high school to college D3 basketball at Elmira College.
Yeah, so I think my journey started sophomore year of high school when I wanted to pursue a college basketball career. So my dad actually found the service that we'll talk about in a minute called NCAA, which is a recruiting platform where college coaches can contact you and you can contact them, and we'll get into it in a minute. But that was the main priority. And then I started on that, but I was only on JV, so I was kind of nervous to post video and talk to college coaches so soon, just because of my experience at the moment. So I basically waited for year and a half because I just didn't know what to do with the platform. And then I finally got back to it, posted video from my tribal teams, created a template email with the help of my dad at the time, and started talking to coaches. I started getting responses from D3 schools for the most part, some JUCO, some D2. Started communicating with them, and then started going to camps that they invited me to. Then went from there, went to visits at the schools. Coaches came to see me, and then I cut down the school list. Finally made a decision, and like right now I'm at Elmira College, which is a D3 school up in southwestern New York. Not like what a big thing is that I learned, and I'm trying to help you guys learn too, is at the D3 level, they don't give athletic scholarships. So people think, I don't want to go there because you're going to have to pay full price, $40,000-$50,000 a year. But most D3 schools will just give you academic scholarships. And basically, they can cut your tuition in half. Like, I'm paying half price than I should be. So.
Yeah, I think the lesson we learned from Jack's experience is you don't have to be a five-star athlete. Coaches now are going completely digital. They're having to visit less players and optimize their digital experience. So I think a lot of the platforms that allow you to get in front of players can help you tell your story, who you are. And we've learned that through helping other athletes, there's a place for everybody. It's just finding that place. Our process is really simple. Kind of the last thing about us, we basically go through a discovery process with every athlete. We optimize their NCSA profile, and then we get to the process of promoting them to the schools they want to go. We develop a 3-tier process that allows them to go for different levels, and we walk them through and basically run the whole program for them so they can concentrate on training with Ganon, with their high school coaches, with getting their GPA as high as possible, and doing that piece of the puzzle, and not worry about promoting themselves out there in the world. Again, it's simple. Our partners, NCSA, we basically run our own team edition, and we bring people into that environment. I thought Gannon could talk a little bit about his recruiting process that he went through and what he's seen, right now in the world out there in recruiting. Gannon, any thoughts on recruiting in the world today?
Yeah, I got a real good sentence. Be so good they can't ignore you. I mean, that's basically it, man. I mean, a lot of kids have to get into a routine, have to get mentally an A in basketball. They have to really study it, understand it, be different from all the other players out there. Obviously, if you're big, tall, athletic, can dunk, you're going to get noticed right away. But most of the, I think, players we're talking to tonight are undersized or a step slow. So, you got to be so good they can't ignore you. You got to really develop your work ethic and your mentality of, all right, what is basketball? How can I maximize my mind and my effort? But, I got recruited because, I worked my tail off to be good. I was a point guard. I played on a winning high school team, so that helps if you're looking for a high school program. Go where they win. If they win, they have a reputation, so they attract more recruiters. Play on a travel team. I played for probably the best travel team in the country, maybe the world, in Boo Williams. Back then, he only had one team in the late '80s. So I played on his team so that we could travel and get in front of college coaches at tournaments. And so I did. And the third way I got recruited was five-star camp, which basically was a camp where college coaches could work it and they could also see you. They could come recruit you there. So, camps, winning teams, a good travel team, and really develop your purpose and passion on your own time, whether it be on your own or with a trainer. I think those are the best ways to get recruited.
Is there a lesson that you see out there when you have players come to your training that you help them to understand, the level of work they have to put in day in and day out to go forward, even an under-recruited athlete?
Yeah, I mean, as far as developing your skill, you have to get into a routine. A great routine equals great results. So it's setting up an annual program where you're getting your physical, your mental, your emotional work in, and it's everything from skill work to team to strength and conditioning to flexibility. And then, as we're talking to tonight, understand the landscape, using platforms like yours to get recruited doesn't hurt you, it always helps you. You have to recruit the college coach. You have to be intentional about marketing yourself and putting yourself out there because now, as a high school player graduating, uh, it's probably the most difficult situation it's ever been for high school seniors because of the transfer portal. There's so many players transferring because there are no rules of transfer. There's no repercussions. There's no accountability or consequences. So everybody can transfer on every level. And so, with that being said, you really have to go above and beyond marketing yourself as a family um, to get recruited. But one of the things I see, as I go all over the world is players under 18 or, inconsistent, immature pros and college kids, they're not disciplined. They don't work on their own to the level that they need to be. They don't set themselves up for success because of a lack of or mediocre self discipline. And, discipline, Mike, is doing the little thing, right, a long time until something great happens.
Yeah.
It's diligence, man. And unfortunately, players quit too soon and lack that pain tolerance that they need to put in the work month after month after month after month after year. So I challenge all the parents and kids that are under the sound of my voice right now to be tougher than the competitors out there because college coaches want toughness more than anything right now. They want loyalty and they want toughness. So if you can develop that, you're gonna have some opportunities.
Yeah, I think you said something a couple weeks ago in one of your webinars. Excuse me for coughing, everybody. Um, you know, something that I said to Jack. I felt like every year 50% of players are quitting. They're giving up on that dream that they had, and I think that also gives that tough kid that wants to work that opportunity just to work even harder and to commit to it, and gives them that greater opportunity.
Right. Absolutely.
Jack, do you have any questions for Gannon that you want to ask?
Um, let's see. I think we talked earlier about with Ganon with like the level of athlete that you are. Like, are you that? Are you shooting for that D1, but you should still look at D2, D3 schools, or should you go that JUCO route? Should you go that, or should you just like shoot for certain levels? Basically, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, that's a great question. Every leader needs to help people with clarity. So if it's the parents, if it's the trainer, if it's the player, you need to start out with clarity. So define, all right, what college means to you, and if it's and again, most if not all players that I talk to and train want to play for the Roman numeral number one. Yeah, no problem. So with Division One, you have high major, you have mid major, you have low major. Low Division One, mid Division One, high Division One. So you have to understand that less than 1% of high school players actually get a Division One scholarship. If you're 6 foot and under, you got a 0.1% chance. If you're 6 foot and Latino or Asian or white, now it goes to 0.001. So there's all kind of data to back up undersized, certain cultures. So you have to start to embrace, if I don't back up my Division One dream with a Division One reality, work ethic, time commitment, passion, killer attitude, retiring from all the other sports, just focusing on basketball, you're probably not going to make Division One if you don't intentionally use platforms to get in front of Division One coaches. You're not gonna go Division One. So Division Two, there's certain realities there as well. But again, most high school players that go Division Two, you got about a 10% chance of making it. I think the reality is for most of the people listening to this, because if you're listening to this, you probably need help recruiting. I think you need to embrace uh, number one, a Division Three, like you said. Jack. There's nothing wrong with that. I grew up in Hampton, Virginia, close to Christian Newport University. Phenomenal Division III school. I think their men's and women's are always top five now in the country. And you do get packages, you get financial aid, you get different things where it could supplement, almost a full scholarship. Like Gordon Haywood, who played for Michigan, and now he's with the Heat. You can play 2 years at Division III or 3 years, and then transfer to a Division II or Division I. That's a reality. There's nothing wrong with that. I respect that. If Division III is not your goal, then there are plenty NAIA Division I, Division II, Division III. They give full scholarships. Division III NAIA gives financial aid packages. Then you have small Christian colleges, Bible colleges that give, full scholarships, financial aid packages. Nothing wrong with that. They're 4-year universities. It's competitive athletics. I've trained a lot of players that have gone that route. But if you really want to go Division I, you might want to look at a prep school. But again, 70% of them are shady. That's a whole nother conversation. You guys will get a document from me with my information if you want to go further into trying to find a good prep school. But the JUCO route, the junior college route is a good route. They have Division I JUCOs that have 13 full scholarships, and then they have Division II JUCOs that have about 5 to 6 scholarships, and then they have Division III JUCOs that have financial aid and academic packages. So if you have the purpose of going to college and you back it up with a passion, you're guaranteed to play somewhere, 100%. And then you can work your way up. But it comes down to clarity. And if you're a senior right now and you don't have any Division I calls, looks, offers, you might want to start looking at prep schools or junior colleges as the next best route.
Yeah, and give us a call. We can also help you kind of explore the D3, D2 level as well. I have a great question from Steve B. How do you balance the demands of academics and athletics for your student athletes?
High school?
High school.
Great question. Very easy answer. Time management. Time management. I'm not saying less sleep. I mean, they need 8 to 9 hours of sleep. They're going to have to sacrifice social and social media. If academics and athletics are really important to them, then they have to sacrifice that during the right periods of time during the year, and they can fit it in. So again, no excuse. I have 3 kids. You guys out there are parents. You have kids. We all have the same choices. It's 24 hours in a day. They go to school, right, and they have their sport. My kids want to play in the NBA or NFL, no problem. My daughter wants to be a professional equestrian, no problem. It's a lot of sacrifice to that. My wife and I were high school, college, and professional athletes, and my wife coaches in college. I coach professional, high school, college players all over the world. There's a sacrifice to that. The balance, to me, it's easy to balance. It's hard to execute because it comes down to, all right, I'm not going to have a phone. I'm not going to have social media. I can't go to every social event. Well, what about they got to be a kid? They do got to be a kid, but you know what? You sacrificed that. I didn't have a girlfriend in high school. I didn't go to every school dance. Did I have fun? Yeah, best years of my life were in high school and college. But there was a balance. My passion was to play, not to play around. I went to the pool and the bowling alley and the so-called clubs, but I didn't go every week. There's a balance there, and some weeks, some months, I sacrifice sleep. Instead of 8 hours, I got 6. So great question. They can do it. My question is, how dedicated, how disciplined is your child, and will they allow you to push them?
And I think a lot of it is about that passion. And if you really look at D3, D2 scholarships, a lot of them revolve around academics. So if you have that good GPA, you are a candidate, and you may surpass other people that don't have good grades, but you have equal skill level on the court. So I think it's really important.
Mike,
Matt, yeah,
let me follow up that. So here's a
go
practical
for it.
example. During lunch, kids can eat in 15 minutes. Then they can go to the library and study for 20. Kids can, on their way to school, pop in a lecture or some kind of audio um, playlist to help their academics. Kids can get up an hour earlier on Saturday and do their homework. Kids can turn the TV off or the social media off and supplement that time with studying. That's what I did. I studied during lunch so that I would have more time to practice on my own after school. And so it's that kind of small changes that you can make during the week. And at the end of the week, you've got in about 3 to 4 hours extra of studying because you learned how to manage your time. If you ride the bus, you read your book or you study your notes away from the crowd that's waiting at the bus stop, before the bus comes. It's doable. They just have to be disciplined enough to do it. So I just want to throw that in there as some practical examples.
Oh, you're definitely preaching to the choir there. Jack will attest to that. That his dad talked about organizational skills and how to track it, and he definitely had that coming up through school. So
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, the one thing that I've gone through from high school to college is there's a lot more free time than you really think. Like there's free periods in high school. There's actually a lot more. There's a lot of time after like practice. If you have it during the week or training, there's still time for homework. Like it just depends if you actually want to do it or you want
Yeah.
to do that sort of thing. And then in college, you don't even have that many classes. It's not like high school where it's from 8 to 3 or 8 to 2 or whatever it is. It's a couple classes a day, 2 or 3, maybe 4 if you're really pushing it each day. But you've
Yeah.
got a lot of free time in between where you can work out, study, and then do whatever else you need to do, like with your so-called team. So
Absolutely.
we have a great question from Matthew H. How often should I be training in the off season? Pardon me,
How old is Matthew?
Matthew. How old are you? Put it in the chat there for me. Here's another one. We'll come back to Matthew from Kelly. What qualities do you look for most in a point guard?
I assume these are high school kids going to college, right?
Yep, I would say so.
Um, all of these are important, so it's not like it's an order of importance. Number one, they have to lead. They have to talk and touch. They have to be the coach on the floor. They have to direct and correct. They have to celebrate their teammates, communicate. They have to know the coach's playbook to where if the coach metaphorically, passed out or went to sleep on the bench, the point guard could call the plays. Now, Kelly, is her name Kelly?
Jeff,
Jeff. So Jeff, if you just do what I say, you're in the 99th percentile. I work with elite athletes. I work with the top 100 high school and college players that Nike put in front of us for 15 years, from 2004 to 2017. And I'm telling you, man, like the elites don't even do that. Chris Paul does, Stephen Curry does. But if you just lead with everything that I just told you, you already stand out. Number two, you have to be ambidextrous. You got to pivot off your right and left foot. You got to pass off your right and left hand. You got to be able to break pressure off both feet and hands. You got to be able to finish right and left hand. So you have to be very skilled being a playmaker, getting to the paint, playing off 2 feet, and finding people. And then number three, they leave you open. You got to knock down in the game about 33, 35% of your shots. So to do that, you got to shoot, make 500 a day for a week, 5 days a week, and shoot 70% in practice. And the fourth one is you got to be in such great shape that in the fourth quarter you're not fatigued, nor do you have fear. And you can guard guys full court. You can ball pressure. You can get deflections. You can still talk and not get tired. You can have that defensive stamina to make stops in the fourth quarter. But if you're in shape and you're a leader and you're skilled, I mean, I have a whole master class on that. You should tune into my membership every Monday and Wednesday. Um, of the month, and we talk about how to survive as an undersized, how to be a floor general. But that's a great question. I gave you some bombs. If you watch this again, or if you're taking notes and you just do that, you've changed your life forever as a point guard.
Communication, definitely. I mean, you cannot lose running the show and talking to people. And I think a lot of people feel a little anxiety when doing that. Let's go back to Kelly answered. Matthew answered. He's 15. So how often should I be training
Great question.
off season?
Yeah, so when the season ends, take a month off. I know a lot of coaches don't believe in that, and they have you go to the gym right away, but that's not correct. I hope high school coaches are listening to me. If NBA players, right, take, you know, 2 months off, then high school players should do that as well. So you got to take 1 month off. Don't touch a ball. Do a lot of stretching. Still exercise. Light work, bike, stairmaster, maybe the pool. But you got to get away from basketball. You get burned out, and you get tendonitis, and it's not healthy. And then during the off season, 4 hours a day, man, 5 days a week, 20 to 22 hours a day, a week. Put in the work. Take 2 days off a week during the off season. Don't do nothing. Sit on the couch, if you will, for 48 hours. But go hard for 4 hours a day, 5 days a week. And that could be weights, sprints, pickup games, team practice, whatever. Um, and then that's the off season. And then, after about 10 weeks during the off season, take a week off. Don't do nothing. And then have back at it.
And
That's a
have a
good,
plan.
that's a plan. That's a great plan.
Yep.
That's kind of what Kobe, I've spent some time with him. Kobe did that. I kind of did something similar to that. I probably overworked. I went 6 days a week at times. I didn't take the week off after 10 weeks, but yeah, you got to give your body a chance to recover and rest too. Also, when you go on that court, man, you got to go hard. Like you got to go beyond game speed. Um, a lot of guys say I'm working, but you're not working hard. You're not. You're not getting out your comfort zone. Because Mike, I train a lot of these guys, and they're out of shape. Like girl today, signed with McNeese State, and I trained her, and she got dizzy after we went hard for a few minutes. I'm like, man, you're not in shape. I've been working hard, coach. Yeah, but not the level I want you to. Not world champion hard, not state champion hard, not starter Division I hard. Like you got to go hard, and then you got to rest.
And Gannon talks the walk, walks the talk. He's right in there with all the players and
I try.
going through the training. I respect it tremendously.
I
So, a
try.
question from Coach Melvin: other than basketball skills, what should you work on?
Oh, great question. Flexibility, recovery, stamina, strength, and then Coach Melvin, get your players to get an A in basketball. Meaning, if you ask your players offensive and defensive questions about the game, could they answer them right? And could they answer them clearly? And could they answer them in 30 to 40 seconds? Here's an example. 4 rules of transition defense in order. What are they? Like players won't know. Get the rim, stop the ball, get the closest threat, take care of the mismatches. Another question is when you drive, where are the 2 places you drive to? Players won't know. Number 1 is downhill, meaning you got to get paint touches. Number 2 is if you can't get downhill and you don't pass or shoot, dribble uphill, which is DHO, dribble handoff, dribble at your teammate's defender. Now, when you get to the lane, what are the 4 ways or 4 major advantages you have as an offensive player? Your players won't know that. But the 4 answers are, hey, we get fouled, we have higher field goal percentage because we're closer to the basket. We bring 2 to the ball. That's a great definition of a drive. When you bring 2 to the ball, you got 2 things. What happens? Players remember, oh, okay, I got a kick out. Cool. What's the other thing happen? Well, if I shoot it and 2 are on me, we have offensive rebounding advantages. what are 6 ways a defender can guard you off a pin down? What do you do? What are 5 ways you can guard a side pick and roll? And what do you do? So, like, coach, these players run your plays, but they have no clue how to play. When a defender closes out, what are my 7 offensive options based on the 4 defensive coverages? Like, they don't know this stuff, coach. So, the best thing you can do once you train their physical is get them to get an A in basketball. Here's the other thing, coach. Could they um, define your non-negotiables, which is your winning behavior? You should have 5 or 6 winning behavior that they execute on the floor, right, in the locker room, in the lunchroom, in the school, in the community. And these kids aren't good at um, delivering that and uh, explaining that. Um, and so we got to teach these kids how to communicate clearly with conviction. And so good exercises is before practice, after practice, during practice, in the locker room, help these kids express themselves and enunciate and communicate and articulate. That's what I love about Deion Sanders now. Everybody, white America, no disrespect, but a lot of the corporate America is looking at a very confident black guy wearing shades and you know what? He's very articulate. He's very intelligent. And so he can wear a hood, he can wear gold chains, and a lot of people think he's unprofessional. He's not, because what makes him professional is he impacts with his conversation, his words. He's articulate, he's intelligent. He uses professional words. He's very specific with his metaphors and his analogies, and we got to teach our kids that as basketball players. We have all these big books as high school coaches, and that's wonderful, but our kids can't define it. They don't understand it. So we have to be great teachers and great communicators, meaning whatever we say, we got to get them to understand. If they have information and perspiration, now they can have application. Coach Mel, great question. I'm dropping the mic after that.
I'm going to end with this one question for you. If you
All
could
right.
go back in a time machine, young Gannon, what's the one thing you would do over and change?
That's a great question, and you'll never. I mean, this will blow you away. I would get more reps with social. I didn't have a social life. So I didn't know how to treat, girls. I didn't know how to attack and have that balance in my life. It was all basketball, all basketball, all basketball. And so I self-sabotage. I mean, I played Division 1. As I said, over 51 Division 1, Division 2 offers. I would mention All-State my junior year, second team All-State my senior. Played professionally in Iceland, NBA tryout, but I could have been better. I could have been more consistent. I didn't have a balance in my life because I didn't get um, enough reps. So I didn't get away from basketball. I was idolizing basketball. I defined my identity and self-esteem because it was Division 1, pro or bust, and I wasn't all conference. I struggled my junior year coming off the bench. I had injuries. I didn't have pro offers right out of college. I got cut by the Nuggets. Man, I struggled with that. I didn't, have positive relationships with the opposite sex for a long time. And a lot of that had to do with, I was all basketball. That was it. I didn't respect academics. I got A's and B's because I had to, but I was all ball, man. I mean, I was all ball. And I challenge parents and athletes to also explore their career and explore who they are, specifically in Christ. Like basketball is just a rod or a staff for you to help you go impact this world. It's just a season in your life to really go be a positive pillar in community. Now, you can, yeah, that's fun and you can really enjoy that time, but have more of a balance as a young teenager because the decisions you make as a teenager are going to affect your future self like you wouldn't imagine.
I love the balanced message. I think one of the things that Coach Sanders is doing in Colorado is uh, he's a committed individual. He's committed to where he's at and where he's going, And I think that helps his team to see where they want to go and how they can get there. So
100%.
great answer. Well, I don't want to go on too long. Again, and thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
being here with us, talking to us. Jack, thank you very much. Appreciate everybody. And we'll keep running these and answering your questions, helping you get recruited. We just know this, that there is a place for everybody if you'll put in the work on the recruiting side. And it's just a matter of, just like basketball, put in the reps and the good things will happen.
Amen.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.